And I've got a window coming up here. I won't show you there. Hello, everyone. This is Yonks with REtoken DAO, the real estate DAO, and we are hanging out live here with the people. Most of the people here are the core team at REtoken, and we are going super excited about the content that we're going to be doing and what we're going to be talking about here today. This is our much anticipated white paper that we're going to be talking about, and we're framing this in a how to write a crypto white paper. We believe that this is content that's one of the things that we're going to work on, putting a nice bow tie on the end of this. So this is going to serve two purposes for us. It's going to, again, create a framework because we're likely going to be creating some other white papers in some related projects, and there's an entire possibility that we'll be creating multiple white papers, and I'm going to be talking about that here soon. So this is our first working group. We had a planning call earlier in the week. I believe that was on Wednesday or Thursday. Recorded that, had a little audio glitches, so we didn't get the tech, and we're bringing different tech here, so hopefully this is delivered very nicely because this is going to 9 channels here. So wanting to hop right into it. I mean, and it's literally a blank slate here on this. And when I'm talking about a blank slate, I was literally creating this Google Doc. And right now, at the end of the day, I haven't found a better tool for real-time collaboration. We did make the decision on our planning call, and let me open this up here, that ultimately the white paper that we're going to create for REtoken is going to sit here on our GitHub page, and you can see right here on docs.retoken.info. Let me make this a little bit bigger so that everybody can see it here on the live stream. And if we do have anybody participating, make sure that you chime in. The way that we structure our live streams here at REtoken, we love audience participation. And not only do we love it, but we actually incentivize it with REtoken, which is our social token. And we do have REtoken token policy. It's a ERC20 token on Polygon, and we do incentivize for live stream participation. So if you're participating live, show us some love, comment, tell us, say hi, ask some questions, engage, whatever. But going back to the conversation here, we did make a decision on our planning call that we are going to incorporate our white paper on docs.retoken.info, which we have syncing up automatically through API on GitHub. And here is our GitHub repo, REtoken DAO. Nothing too shocking about that. And right here, this docs, so it automatically syncs up between GitHub and Gitbook for version control. So that was one of the things that Dylan DeSign brought up here on our planning call, and I saw that he popped in earlier, and also welcome Dax as well. So that being said, we've got this blank slate. I just sent a share invite to everybody. I see somebody on the Zoom chat. Hey, Dax, thanks for chiming in here. So again, real-time collaboration, going to facilitate this. And let me send you a share link because I don't think that you were on that distro list there, Brian. And let me get that link for you here too. So while I'm doing that, want to open it up as far as from a framing standpoint. Before I do that, let me bring this open real quick here, because I did start. We've got a Trello card, and that's where we get all the things done here at REtoken DAO. Let me bring open this, which is today's Trello card, and I want to speak to this first bullet point here, why a how-to format. And I spoke a little bit, I think, before we started recording, and wanted to bring that open again. Let me make this bigger so that everybody can see it better on the video experience here. So why a how-to format? So REtoken is currently a media DAO, and that's one of the categories that the crypto industry, Web3, has kind of labeled for DAOs that are mostly creating content. So this is a great opportunity for us to provide some solid content that the DAO crypto community can utilize. And I think that that was an incomplete thought here, but that's one of the things that I would like to see us to do, is to create a nice outline or process, like how to write a crypto white paper. Does that make sense? Any questions as far as like that first thought there?
No, it's great.
So the second goal is for REtoken to create a white paper. And when I said it was a blank canvas, like, we've only had our planning call and we haven't had much conversation. This is something that we've kind of been planning for. We have our REtoken roadmap. I'm going to show that here real quick, just for the benefit of everybody here, because this is one of the things that we will be able to get accomplished. Mark one of the things off of our roadmap. So love our roadmap. We have that linked on docs.retoken.info. And this is right here, the roadmap item that I'm talking about is the white paper. And I'm actually going to change the cover back to the white paper, just instead of the POAP that we've got for today's working group. So I guess that would be a good segment. And it sounded like that Dax was doing some testing on a new bot. So thank you for taking the leadership on that issue, Dax. And that's one of the reasons that confidently nominated and seconded Mrs. Yonk's nomination for making you team member of the week. Mrs. Yonks also nominated Crush and Amy as team members of the week. Thank you both for all that you all are doing. Amy has been taking the leadership initiative and getting some of our POAPs for some of our recent events. So thank you for that. And it'll be much easier to get those distributed via the Discord bot. So we'll get some information circulated on how to use that once that's all in place. So anyway, to keep the conversation going, let me get that link over to Brian real quick here. And I'm going to bring open that link myself in my own Gmail window, so that any of the edits that we do today will be facilitated via that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that open here. And let me just make a participants, let's see, working group number 1. And can somebody take the ownership for filling in the participants on this here? I don't know if Tyler, Mrs. Yonks, or you can Crush, just to have that here in this Google Doc. So I'm gonna copy that, because I think that the description here on the Trello card is definitely not a good place for collaborating. And let's see, I'm a little concerned about letting a Zoom user. I'm gonna go ahead and let them in.
I think that's Skeeman Freeman. He said he was going to jump in.
So I see somebody hopped in as a Zoom user.
They couldn't hear you when you asked because they were still connecting.
Oh, okay. And who's the Zoom user that just popped in?
Is that you, Skeeman Freeman?
Oh, it's not me.
Hey, thanks. Welcome, Amy. All right. So anyway, let's see. Goals here is to, and we'll change this to a numbered list. Create an outline / process how to write a crypto white paper. So one of the thoughts too, and just to provide a little additional, I created and this is the REtoken Gmail that we've got, I created a white papers folder here, and I called this one "How to Write a Crypto White Paper." So that's where we can keep track of this, which I sent out the Google Doc for everybody to edit. And that's, I still need to get that shared with Brian here too. Let me do that. With Scheme
I
and
don't think you shared
Freeman.
with me either.
Should be on your Gmail. Can you double check? Because I just sent it to the same distro list that I've been using.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
Let's see. And I just sent you that via a DM there, Freeman.
Got it. Thanks.
So one of the things too that I think that would be good, and there was some conversation that was happening in Discord, and thanks for fostering some of that conversation, D-Sign. And let me bring open that channel. That was in the Tokenomics channel, and I don't know, I know that our Discord is very threaded, and anyway, that's another conversation. But the Tokenomics, let me ping the white paper. So we did also create a Discord role to facilitate these conversations, because I'm expecting that it'll probably take us anywhere from 2 to 4, maybe 5 working groups. Hopefully not 5. I'm hoping 3 or 4 that we'll be able to get a version 1 of whatever we agree to call this first white paper done. But there was some good conversation that provided, I think, some substantial backstory on that. And I don't know if you wanted to chime in there, because you were driving a lot of those initial conversations there, D-Sign.
Sorry, I'm having some connection issues. Could you repeat that?
I was just complimenting you on some of the questions on the Tokenomics channel that I'm screen sharing right now, and I didn't know if you wanted to add anything more. And it looks like that Michaels thought that what I had written there was fairly good. So there's a potential opportunity to do some copy and paste, and then some modifications and for the course of this working group today.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thanks. I was mostly just thinking about the technical side of this, and then kind of realizing that I don't really understand how any of the real estate side of this works. That's where a lot of my conversation is coming from.
Yeah, and let me see if I have this window. So there, I just pinged everybody on the Tokenomics. If you want to kind of like read here, one of the things that I was going to bring open real quick was, let me see if I've got it here. Let me close some of these down. So is anybody, real quick, is anybody able to check one of the live streams? And the main one that I'm interested in checking is the YouTube, to make sure that that is working properly. And I'll put that in general right now.
I'm on the YouTube live stream and it is working well.
Yeah, that's good for me.
Awesome. That is and I'll take a look afterwards. Appreciate the validation on that. So this is I did a test earlier, and Mrs. Yonks and I were talking about doing another test, but we decided to let her go because I felt fairly good that I had the link in there. So fabulous, excited to hear. And this is to provide a little additional sidetrack here. There's another opportunity. It's OBS project. So this is, if anybody has a particular interest of the live streaming or video or audio, and just putting this out here for anybody that may be watching this down the road, there's absolutely an opportunity to plug in here. We love live streaming the content, and having somebody to act as a producer and enhance all of the content that we're creating, because today's working group, as I said, is going out to 9 channels. With our current restream plan, we have the opportunity of live streaming to 10. And then I think that we can also share the RMTP link with other channels. Like if we wanted to do a collaboration or something like that from a content standpoint with another channel, we can absolutely use the tool that we've acquired for doing that. Sorry for the tangent, but thought that I would put that out there. So how to write a crypto white paper. So really, I think that we've got 2 goals here, is the how to write a crypto white paper and create REtokens first white paper, which fulfills our roadmap 2021 Q4 item. All right. So do we have any other goals that we think that we want to identify for accomplishing during this group of, or during these working groups that we're going to be hosting for this?
We grab the, I don't know if we have specific like requirements in our Trello card for the roadmap, but it'd be cool to drop those just under step 2 or goal 2. I mean, if we have that.
Let's see what you're referring, because I'm thinking that it would be best right now to just consolidate anything that we've done on the Trello cards thus far and just use the Google Docs going forward. I think that the Google Docs is a easier, and one of the things too that we need to decide on, because I think the opportunity to potentially take some of the stuff and put that in the docs.retoken, and I'm going to just put it in this tab here to just keep it out here. Oh, and to talk about one other tangent, I spent some time trying to figure out how to get this docs off of here, and if somebody wants to like look into that on Getbook, that would be nice. It's kind of bothering me that it's docs.retoken.info/docs, but anyway. Go ahead, Blurs.
Can we just make it?
I just laughed. Sorry.
Oh, can we just make it retoken/docs and just take the first docs off? Since they're making that automatic.
I don't believe that that's a technical capability. I think that we
okay.
only have the capability of having it as a subdomain. I don't think it can be a folder
Okay.
on the
Okay,
Apex domain.
Okay, no, that's fine. Doesn't matter. I don't want to take us off track on that. Sorry.
I could take a look at the naming on that notes.
All right, cool. Because I do know that it exists, because this is one of the things that we were talking about during our planning call, like with BitDAO. And this is the reason that I brought that up, is that it is relevant because they do have, and they just call it a light paper. And this is something that I wanted to put out there that we may do for consideration. And I don't think that we need to have that decision here today. So because I would really like to, and the thought on this is I think that we have the opportunity of having multiple white papers. So let me put this as a thoughts here, as a thoughts and a bullet point, multiple white papers. And let me do an indented, let's see. I think I'm losing some of my editors with making this bigger. So like first one that I was thinking about is this is really resonating with me, this tagline, BIDL residual income for real estate people. And the reason that that's really resonating with me is that really puts it, the value proposition, because I think the biggest audience that we should be intentional about attracting to our community, our member base, in my opinion, are real estate professionals, real estate investors, the people that are in the game, the real estate game right now. Because like right now, from what I largely understand, most real estate people are compensated on a transactional basis. They sell a house, they do a deal, they're compensated for that deal, they're done. Then they move to the next deal, they're compensated for that deal, they do the next deal, they're done, then they move to the next one. So if anybody wants to shatter that belief, I would love to have some conversations with real estate professionals or real estate people that have residual income that aren't like real estate investors. Because I do absolutely understand the dynamic that exists when you acquire a piece of property. I mean, my Mrs. Yonks and I categorically fall into that bucket ourselves. True story. She's, up in Chicagoland renting out a property that like 3 weeks ago we were planning on moving in to ourselves, but we both agreed to lean more into Colorado. So we that property's provided some residual income for us. Now, the person that sold that property, we acquired that property through the Redfin platform. And I'm very certain that the Redfin agent that helped facilitate the deal on both sides of that equation, from the seller and the buyer standpoint, they are not getting compensated any on that. So I think that that's the biggest story that we can tell. And to add some further validation to that, when I was in Austin, Texas, not once but twice in September, so just a couple months ago, not even, I guess the first one, the Blockchain Real Estate Summit, was mostly on September 10th. And that was a great event, both of the events that I was at. But one of the stories that wasn't being told is this story right here, is that through the smart contracts, we have the technical capability to create a residual income in the form of, like, let's say there's a 3% transaction fees that are architected into the smart contract. REtoken could potentially get 1% of those transaction fees. Then the deal maker could potentially, and that could be sliced and diced, like maybe the deal was facilitated by 2 key people, or maybe a business, or whatever the case may be. So that could be maybe 1% could go to the deal maker, and then another percent could go to impact investing. And everybody's seen a little bit. I'm going to bring that open because I do have an impact investing slide that I created here on Figma, tweeted about earlier, and I'm going to make this a little bit larger. So impact investing, like Triple Win Foundation or For Christ Foundation, those are 2 impact investing vehicles that, and this is one of the reasons that we're putting some of this infrastructure in place with those now, so that when we do get the smart contracts all finalized and the deal for doing those, then we'll have the vehicles that Mrs. Yonks and I want to align with for any of the deals that we tokenize, if that makes sense. So I'm really liking, and like from a second white paper standpoint, is the impact investing opportunity with through tokenized real estate. And this is just some thoughts, and maybe it would be a second would be how creating equitable, affordable housing. And this is really, like, I think one of the biggest opportunities is this, because there's a lot of conversations about affordable housing. This is the one that normally isn't involved in the conversation, is the equitable component of that. So that's kind of my thoughts, is that I think that we should be a white paper factory. Now, I'm not necessarily thinking that we need to create a bunch, but one of the companies that I was doing, and let me see, I think I might have this in another window, but I'm gonna stop talking. I've been talking a lot. I'm wanting to give people the opportunity to chime in on the thoughts of the direction here, how that this resonates with everybody primarily, because this is really what I would like the title of this first white paper to be called. But I'm open to hear other people's thoughts.
I like this, Biddle. I think that's a really nice red flag for people, or a white flag for people to who know what it is. Is there anybody on here that's not familiar with the word biddle or knows what that is?
I have not heard it formally defined, but I've kind of surmised where it came from.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, same here. Could you, someone, please, Taylor, if you know, please explain to us, or just give us a background. Thank you.
Somebody sent out a tweet when he said something like, let's build all the things, and he just mistyped it, and he just typed biddle instead of build. And that became this big rallying cry in the community. So there are two ways you might see it. One is biddle and one is HODL, which is hold, but HODL. And it's basically this whole new language of saying, we're going to disrupt everything. We're not going to build things the way that they've been built. We're not going to hold things the way they've been held. So let's biddle all the things and HODL all the things. And so a lot of times that's the language of, if you're trying to throw a flag out to people who are in the crypto space, saying let's hashtag biddle it, it's basically saying let's build it on blockchain, let's build it on crypto, let's use different words, let's use different thought processes to do it. It kind of became this internal rallying cry within the community. And that's our flag to say, hey, crypto community, we're not going to build something, we're going to biddle it. We're going to do it differently. Does that make sense?
And let me actually read, because I think that this is a great definition and it's important. So thank you for asking that, because it's culturally significant. And one slight tangent before I read the definition that academy.binance.com has is, for anybody that is serious about really, and I would say that the people that are on here on a Saturday afternoon, so I'm speaking to everybody that's on here because you're obviously serious about developing a future in the DAO space and Web3, but the Ethereum Denver, and when I was looking at the agenda, there's a lot of stuff coming from the 11th to the 17th, but the core meat and potatoes of Ethereum Denver, which is, I think, where biddle came from. And let me just read that here, but it's coming up 18th to the 20th. Tyler, Mrs. Yonks, and myself, I did acquire the Bufficorn. It's the first PFP, personal profile picture. You can see it on my Twitter profile. And that's the Bufficorn, which is the PFP that's behind the Ethereum Denver, which is, they're migrating to a DAO, Spork DAO. I'm not going to go out any more off of that tangent. Let me read the biddle definition that academy.binance.com here has. Biddle is a warping of the word build in the same fashion as HODL. And I'm going to add some hold on for dear life is what HODL means. So biddle is a call to arms for building and contributing to the blockchain and cryptocurrency ecosystem instead of passively holding. So put that into context of biddle residual income for real estate people. I think that's a little too big. So I really, really like that. And that's something that I've started to use. And this is something I use in a lot of hashtags on tweets that I've been sending out. It trends regularly. And I think that is just a large proclamation to the crypto community as far as, like, again, like this line right here. I love this definition. Call to arms for building and contributing.
I have a question about the title for the first one. Why are we limiting ourselves to real estate people? I think a lot of people, most people are interested in building up a portfolio of residual income.
This was kind of a second version. Real estate people was kind of a second version. We were like real estate investors, real estate professionals. And one of the aims of REtoken is people that are interested in real estate. So we don't want all people anywhere, everywhere, whatever. We just want people that are interested in real estate, professionals, investors, people that are interested, people that would like somewhere to throw $100, renters that want to become owners, but you have to be interested in real estate in some way, or you're not going to be interested in this project. So we settled on real estate people because it seemed the most inclusive of anyone that has any interest in real estate, but not anybody that has any interest in anything anywhere. So that's because we're real estate tokenization, REtoken is real estate. So if you don't have any interest in real estate at all, then we're probably not the right project for you. So that's kind of where that's going.
And to add a little bit to that, like there's a lot of opportunities that promise residual income, and if we took that out of the title, I mean, it would be too open. And at the end of the day, we are still REtoken, the real estate DAO. So we're not, and there was some conversation about like, instead of having people here, having investors or professionals. And I mean, even though I guess technically Mrs. Yonks and I are real estate investors, I don't identify as a real estate investor. So that's one of the reasons that we intentionally chose people. And I do think that having this in our title will add more clarity, because it's not, there's a lot of things, multi-level marketing, network marketing, other situations that are prolific that promise residual income. So that is one of the things that we can identify through this particular white paper, is that you don't necessarily have to be an existing real estate professional or a real estate professional in order to participate in the tokenized opportunities that we will be creating. And that's so there's really two things in this narrative to tell through this white paper story, is for the people that acquire the tokens that get created through the process of real estate tokenization. And then, in my opinion, the more powerful one is for the people that are putting those deals together, because it's those people that are putting these deals together that will really allow real estate tokenization to hit critical mass. And that's one of the reasons that we've also put on our roadmap, is to create a certificate program for fractionalized real estate. And that's one of the reasons that wanting a 3-tiered certificate program, and I'm not going to go off onto that tangent right now, but that's does that provide some additional clarity as far as why that I think that we think that it's important to leave real estate in the white paper title?
Yeah, I do kind of have a question kind of about like the platform as my vision for REtoken in the future was to build kind of like a platform for retail investors too, that would like to acquire NFTs that pay dividends, but in a constant flow fashion, like with how we're interested in using Superflow.
Yeah, and to be clear, that's going to be a component of the tokenization for any tokenization situation that does get created, and that'll be more on a situation by situation, and we don't have enough parameters of what that looks like yet, because like one of the things that we're very interested in creating is the opportunity, again, like you nailed it right there, with retail investors, and from a securities regulation standpoint. And that was something that I can't remember if that came up in the tokenomics conversation here in this channel, but we're committed to bringing regulation crowdfunding, which is provides, I think, in my opinion, the best opportunity for retail investors to participate, instead of the accredited investors, which requires 1 million of assets or 300K a year of income, or if you're a business, 5 million in assets.
I guess just to get clarity on questions that are being asked, the end goal is that availability to retail investors, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the securities regulation, again, that provides the best opportunity, is regulation crowdfunding, because it's the least complex to deploy. I think what is it? Reg A and Reg CF are really the two securities regulations, and there's Reg A plus. But as far as from a complexity and time to market, the regulation crowdfunding. So the security token is different than the securities regulation. So the security token is the technical execution of the property. And a good way to think about that is that it's because you're not at the end of the day, you're not actually tokenizing a property, because property has to either be owned by a natural person or a legal entity. And most people in the industry call it an SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle. So it's an entity that owns the property, and then you actually tokenize the entity. And at the end of the day, the token is a digital representation of a share owner of that entity. So like if you have DSign LLC, and then you're like, okay, we're going to create this token. We're going to have 100,000 tokens. And just to keep it really easy, you're tokenizing a house that costs $1 million. So 100,000 tokens, and how that would be reflected in the operating agreement for DSign LLC is that you would say one token equals one share. And in this case, with the property valuation at the time of the deal being done, $1 million. So each token is worth $10. Okay. So, and then the important consideration is that the SEC and FINRA don't recognize the public blockchain, the distributed ledger, as a true chain of custody. And that's where the registered transfer agent comes into play. And I pinned in both the tokenomics, and also there's another channel here, securities regulations, where I pinned the same thing. So, and that's the three considerations there. I'm not going to go into details, but the registered transfer agent is the one that provides the chain of custody. So that's conversations that we will be having with the potential, because like one of the things that we're looking to do until we're working towards Token Town, our flagship project, and we'll be talking more about Token Town in coming weeks and months. Yes.
Sorry to cut you off. I was just thinking, as you're going through all of this, if you don't mind, I plan on jotting down basically the key concepts you're listing out, because I believe my understanding is that each one of these should be a component of the white paper that should be fleshed out, such as like registered transfer agent, regulation, crowdfunding. Each of those should be a section that's going to be fleshed out for the readers to better understand. That's my understanding.
Potentially, but like that's also one of the values of having our stuff, our white paper, be in the docs, because like the opportunity of having that in a better presented format than necessarily within the white paper, and just tell it, because when we are going back to the title of the white paper is talking about residual income, in my opinion. And that, I guess, is depending on the details that want to happen in the white paper. And I guess that this is potentially something that's philosophical, and it may make more sense for us to potentially look at doing a light paper right now, and that's one of the things I'm more of a fan. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if I've read any white paper. I have so much ADD that reading anything that's more than a page or 2 pages is too much for me. So
I've read a bunch of here. Can I jump in here, babe? I've read a bunch of white papers, and around DAO projects. That was actually how I was trying to learn all this stuff in the beginning, was reading every white paper I could get my hands on. So there's a couple things. A light paper is much more just, here's kind of a 1 to 2 pages about the project, ever. And the white paper can go as you want. I mean, if you guys want to put on the tokenization and Polygon and governance and all that, we can add all that, but really it's just a question of how do we make this thing useful? How do we make this document useful? And so I had a formatting.
I think the biggest thing that we need to remember is that a white paper equals marketing. And that's the biggest opportunity that we have here, is to market the value proposition that we're going to be creating. And residual income is a huge value proposition. So in my opinion, and that's also the thing that we need to be considering, is that in my opinion, the biggest opportunity for a target market is existing real estate professionals that maybe don't currently hold a crypto wallet. So in my opinion, I think that it would be better to look through the lens of that we're targeting existing real estate agents, real estate investors that may not currently hold a crypto wallet.
I had a formatting question. So in this white paper, assuming it's going to be some kind of it's going to have the ability to embed links in it, do people normally write white papers that have hyperlinks for more information so you can skip something if you don't care, and we can write it in a way that it's very marketing based, and then if people want to really dive in, then they can? Is that a possibility?
I don't have any specific examples right now. And, that's, I think, and here's one tangent that I did want to go on that I started doing a little bit on. And I don't know if people are familiar with plaid.com. If you are or you're not, plaid.com does a lot of integration for banking services. And they have a lot of, and they're very successful. And the reason that it was relevant, I think that I saw a promoted tweet where they were paying on Twitter for advertising for one of their white papers, and I was like, that's interesting. So where I was going with that is, like, plaid.com, they have 60 results, and I don't know if all 60 of these results are actually white papers, but you can look that they've got a fairly substantial amount of white papers with different value propositions, and the title of their white papers are more geared for the value proposition that whatever the data is included in there. But the other benefit of on Gitbook, and whether we use Gitbook or not, the opportunity to have some diagrams or whatever. I mean, this is our white paper, and to put it back to the how-to, like, the other thing that we want to do too is kind of like create, because again, we're going to be creating other white papers, whether the same group of people are. There's other projects that we're involved in. I showed you the impact investing over here, and each one of these orange circles has the opportunity of potentially having their own white paper. Like in Token Town, we're wanting the houses in Token Town to be our home crypto houses. So it's a little bit of a tangent. So on that, but it's relevant so that we can keep that in a frame of mind for when we're going through these working group here today, and whenever we decide to host our next one.
I'm just oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was just saying, I'm just taking down these hot ticket items. I put potential because obviously these aren't finalized. But as you're going through these things, I think it's just good to keep track of, all the potential items that could go into the white paper.
I love it, and that's why started with the blank slate here, because was very intentional about this being a blank slate. And I love that we're writing this together, because I assure you, if it was left up to my own devices, the white paper would never be written, because I already was very transparent that I have too much ADD to read white papers myself. But I do scan through and get good information. And we can start putting some stuff too here on the Gitbook. I mean, we've also got we already decided that we're using the Gitbook, so I'm going to tear down that other white paper to not cause any confusion on GitHub. And I will create a next action item here for myself, because I think that this is one that I still have as a next action item that I did not get done yet, is to make sure to get everybody added to our Get Book as a contributor. So I will add that as a specific next action here on the Trello card. Now let's see, next actions. So does anybody want to chime in any more on this as far as the title for the first white paper? How's everybody feeling about that? Is that something that we've chewed over enough, or do we want to like sleep on that and make a decision at the next working group? Open for some thoughts and considerations here.
I mean, when it comes to white papers, I might be in a minority here, but generally they, the titles are like the product, not the action,
The tagline,
I guess.
Are you talking about crypto white papers? Because I was just, because I think that we should borrow more from white papers that exist in the like here. Plaid.com is talking about open finance white paper, or putting consumers first in fintech. Because like putting consumers first in fintech isn't a product that Plaid has.
Is that the actual white paper, or is that just a blog about the white paper?
Yes. Great question. Let's see.
I think it's just an article about it.
So the article is, the white paper is called Building a Consumer First Framework for Modern Technologies.
Okay. Yeah, because it looks like the other ones are more product based, but whichever.
And
Whereas, are you talking about having REtoken in the name, or just saying a white paper about real estate, or with Biddle as the tagline? Or I guess I'm not quite following what your idea is.
No, I get it, and allow me to interject, because I think a lot of crypto white papers, and I don't know if I can't personally think of any blockchain projects that potentially have more than white paper. And if somebody wants to take this as a research action item, I'm actually advocating that we kind of break the mold, if you will, and borrow some of the stuff that I'm showcasing here as far as best practices that the legacy world uses surrounding white papers. I don't know if there's any crypto projects that have multiple white papers. I think that that's an opportunity that we can do to break a mold that has, because a lot of crypto white papers at the end of the day are heavily surrounding tokenomics. And that's one of the things that's also very different about what we're doing here, is that the tokenomics, in my opinion, are largely irrelevant, especially here during season 0. And we've already collectively agreed as a team, and I don't know if we want to actually formally add that to our roadmap for Q3 of 2022, where we're going to be doing a regulation crowdfunding offering. But most crypto white papers are geared heavily surrounding the tokenomics, and the tokenomics for us, what we're doing largely don't apply, because we're doing a regulation crowdfunding offering. Now, that being said, there are going to be some tokenomics at play, but I don't think it necessarily is going to have play to this one, because I really like leaning into the value proposition for attracting real estate people through this initial white paper, because and like the affordable housing, I think that that's where we could potentially go more into the tokenomics for the deals that we're doing, and maybe have a smaller section in here about how that the tokenization can provide residual income for that. I think that this white paper, though, needs to be heavily geared for being easy to read for existing real estate professionals. Because I mean, I've been talking just in some random conversations. Like I participated in a live stream that was done via Zoom at EDU that had people on, and there was somebody that was in the audience, and I was talking about, hey, real estate, we're REtoken the real estate DAO, and I put this tagline out here, and he's like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And he started having a private conversation, and true story, he did join our Discord server. So that's something that I've just in the various testing that I've done just here literally over the last week, it's been really resonating, that tagline, with people. And that's why I'm thinking that, and again, I'm not saying that we need to make a decision. I think that we should potentially sit on this, let it marinate over the next week or whenever we're circling back on our working group number 2, and see how that's sitting with everybody. And I would encourage you, like, one of the things that I'm going to be intentional about is starting to participate in more real estate or real estate investing conversations, just to amplify our exposure and have more existing conversations with traditional real estate people, if you will.
Can I speak, Jason? This is Amy.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think I'm getting what I don't know who was the one who spoke earlier was trying to get to, because this is so general, the title, that when they go in and read and they see that it's all about REtoken, it doesn't have a connection. So I guess just putting some REtoken words up there in the title would probably make our branding more, effective, the way I see it. Because in the long run, we're trying to sell our mission, and that's what the white paper is all about. You're trying to tell people what you're wanting to do and for them to be on board in what we're doing. And if that's not clear, then we won't have those people understand exactly what we're here for. I land my plane. That's a clubhouse thing.
That's one of the things that I was hoping that we could have, almost like a flip open of, have like one line that says, if you care about the governance token, click here or something, and then have a pop-up that goes into tech details. If you're like, I don't know what that is, I don't care, you just skip, that's one sentence. That's what I was trying to figure out. Is there a way to write it as a very salesy kind of general?
Well, and
Tyler?
Yeah, we lost you, Tyler.
Looks like she muted herself.
My thoughts again on the white paper title is, I mean, it's going to be a REtoken white paper, like, and looking at some of the other, like, one of the, and I think that I had this is, let me open the.
Well, I mean, I think I would just be happy if we just have REtoken : blah 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 build whatever, and then I'd be happy. How's that?
Like this?
I second
Like what?
emotion.
Yeah.
I second
let's
that.
do that. Yeah.
There we go. All right.
If that's all that it takes for everybody to be happy, and we want to decide that that's the title.
What's
ahead,
the
Poopster.
title? It's build residual income for real estate people.
Yeah, and we just added a REtoken : here, REtoken, and I'll put it in the chat here, just so it has extra resonation with everybody too.
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself before. I was in a drive-through. I didn't want all that background noise.
REtoken build residual income for real estate people.
And I do like that we can be intentional about clarifying that you don't have to be a real estate person. I just think that just adds some, because at the end of the day, REtoken, the real estate DAO, and any type of thing that we can, because I do think from an SEO standpoint that having that in a title might be a value. I don't know how much SEO that we get with Getbook, but that'll be another conversation for another day.
I have.
I mean, we. Oh, go ahead.
Just very quick. So I'm just going to toss this out here. Build real estate residual income for everyone.
Okay, put it out here. Let's.
Oh, here, yeah. Sorry, I forgot. I can't type on your screen.
I think we can put real estate enthusiast.
I got it.
Well, I mean, I would want to build for more than just real estate enthusiasts, though. I would want to
That's kind of what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah, like I feel like.
What about?
I mean, I feel like that was our mission.
Residual income for people who love real
bring
estate.
affordable.
Hold on. Let
everybody.
Poopster get his thought out here. What was that,
Sorry.
Poopster?
No, I thought like our main mission was making housing affordable for everyone, right? So I don't know. It's just kind of like I like what Blur's shared, because I think that's like more kind of inclusive and also aligned with our goal of making affordable housing available to everyone.
That's a good point. Then we don't want if both of those are under the same umbrella of REtoken, then I guess we don't want REtoken in the name.
Which one, Blurs?
So yeah, sorry. So the first and the second. So if both equitable affordable housing and residual income are both under the REtoken umbrella, then I guess we don't want REtoken in the name of the first white paper, because then we'd have to put in the name of the second white paper, and then it's getting a little weird. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm good either way, and like I have no problem curbing this until our next working group conversation and just let it marinate.
Let's keep going, guys. We got a lot to cover. Let's keep going.
So we'll just leave these two lines. I do like the everyone as far as being more inclusive, but I do get where you're coming from there on Blurs, as far as like, because even this white paper right here, the opportunity for that to be potentially co-authored, for example, between Our Home Co-op DAO and REtoken DAO, I think that would be an absolute possibility, because I really believe that Our Home Co-op is going to be a great funnel for pipelining equitable, affordable housing through the Our Home Co-op separate DAO that we're going to be creating. And this is just me talking out loud, planting some seeds here as far as like the collaboration possibilities for that one that I've highlighted here. But this is one that the equitable, affordable housing, super passionate about, that is a huge opportunity and global crisis for us. So that being said, we're gonna curb the further conversation about the white paper title and let that marinate until the next working group. We're halfway through our 2-hour time frame on the allocation, and I've been neglecting here. Hopefully, I'm not a bad host. I'm going to take a look and see, and this is again more opportunity for people to potentially contribute, because I'm still getting up to speed on this new tool that using, and I'm going to see if there's any audience participation on that right now. If there is, say hi. Don't want to lull in the conversation, but let's see here.
I'd actually, I have some thoughts that I want to share on the overall, everything that we've kind of been discussing. I didn't want to derail things though, so like I don't know if maybe now's a good time or if you want me to wait until later.
No, go ahead. This is a great point. Love hearing your feedback on everything, Poopster.
So maybe I used when you use the term white paper, but like when you said like when you mentioned writing multiple white papers or being like a white paper writing machine, man, that kind of threw me off a little bit, because like normally in the world of DeFi, and once again, I believe that this is where like the kind of whole light paper thing really is taken off, is through DeFi projects, because of the fact that most of them don't have like a solid roadmap, because of the fact that Web3 is kind of growing and evolving so quickly. So instead of writing white papers, they write kind of light papers, which is something that you can is kind of you can kind of leave open-ended, and kind of it's less kind of structured, I guess you would say. So anyway, that's kind of what I think of when I think of like white papers, is something that like really details, like in my opinion, I don't know that anybody's ever written more than one white paper. I believe like kind of what you're talking about is more like technical blog posts, which I think would like Medium or Mirror might be a great avenue for something like that, instead of like actually posting white papers themselves. But yeah, like that's just was my thought around like putting out. I feel like putting out a lot of white papers is probably going to be very time consuming. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Like I'm more of the mindset of kind of I don't know. I think that like a very like when I think if I would have thought we were going to write a white paper, I'm thinking like literally one page, maybe 2 pages, and keep a lot of stuff open-ended and leave room for growth, and just kind of give a general overview of the problem we see, and kind of our solution problem. That's once again just my thoughts.
Well, and here's the thoughts on more than one white paper, because there's more than one problem that we're solving for. So like the problem of liquidity in real estate is a problem that real estate tokenization solves for. And that's a very different problem categorically than the lack of equitable and affordable housing. And the target audience for like the liquidity conversation is a very different problem than what we would be solving for, is providing a real estate agent that sees the opportunity of real estate tokenization, that currently doesn't have any residual income as a real estate professional, but yet the opportunity to, instead of selling a house in the legacy real estate dynamic that exists today, to transition that from being a legacy real estate transaction to a tokenized situation is a different problem that we're solving for. So I think that's, and I don't necessarily want to allude that we're going to be a white paper factory, but I think positioning those, and whether we need to have 2 or 3, I could easily see, having at least 2 white papers. And the thing is that it doesn't necessarily have to be set in stone. I mean, like what our organization looks like today versus a year or 2 years or 5 years from now, the opportunity to update that over time is very much there. So I do agree that white papers, and most white papers I think are normally anywhere from 6 to 30 pages. So they've got, like most light papers and again, if we want to more lean towards the direction of creating a light paper now, I'm absolutely on board with that idea. That's more my pace as far as desire to read. But I think that that's something that we should, again, kind of let marinate between now and our next working group. So does anybody else want to chime in there, or do you want to share some additional thoughts on that, Poopster?
Yeah, I would kind of second the thoughts of Poopster. When I think of white paper, I think of a very cut and dry document, not too much flair in it, but the goal is really to articulate what the project is, what the goals are, and what I can expect out of it as an investor. All the portions that you're mentioning are valid to investors. Oh, well, we're not even using that word, investors, to people who are joining in the project, whether that's the affordability concept or the tokenomics, or, you know, I've seen things about the community being solar powered and crypto mining and residual income. All these things are very, very relevant to say, you know, is this something I want to put my money towards? And so I think having all of that housed in one place, and then it can be sliced and diced if you wanted to.
Several times is a relevant, very relevant thought consideration, because this white paper that we're creating here now, we have no desire or intent to get investor money. Like, people cannot buy REtoken. So we're not looking for investors with this white paper that we're creating today. We're looking to attract members to contribute to this organization that we're creating. We have intentionally not allowed people to be investors in REtoken. We're creating a community that's community owned and operated. There's no opportunity for third-party people to invest in REtoken right now. So I think that that's a very important consideration, and why that I'm highlighting it right now, because a lot of white papers are geared for that thought in mind, as far as how can I make this look attractive to an investor. This white paper that we're creating here, BIDL residual income for real estate, or BIDL real estate, and this is something that I'm going to have to read through a couple times, because I'm struggling here. BIDL real estate residual income for everyone. I like the for everyone, but I'm having a harder time saying it. BIDL residual income for real estate people, or for everyone through real estate. For everyone.
Hey, babe, can we table that, because we got a lot to get through.
It's an important consideration, because, like, looking at this white paper through the lens of an investor is a very different lens than looking at it through attracting a member to participate in the community that we're creating.
So you're saying this first edition is to attract community members, and then subsequently there'll be other white papers for everyone.
Correct, because we're not going to be doing a traditional token offering. We're going to be doing a regulation crowdfunding offering for REtoken. So there's not going to be, outside of the airdrops that we're doing for actively participating, and like this working group here, you know, this 2-hour chunk of time. And this is something that we have been consistently doing, is for like our community call that's an hour, or a core team call, we reward 25 REtoken, like for participating in today's working group. Everybody that's participating on this Zoom is going to be rewarded 25 REtoken. And I'm struggling, and I apologize if there's people that are participating. I wasn't seeing how to engage on that. So I don't know if somebody can monitor the live stream, or if somebody wants to, but yes, back to your question there, Freeman, as far as this initial white paper, and until we do our regulation crowdfunding offering, unless somebody is intentional about setting up liquidity, and those conversations aren't going to be conversations that we will be facilitating, because my understanding today, the securities regulations as they exist, if you're involved in the issuance of a token, and then you're also involved in the issuance of the liquidity for that token, that you're basically creating an unregistered security. And with us taking a very conservative approach here, where we're wanting to create security tokens that can be compliant with existing SEC and FINRA regulations surrounding security tokens and digital assets, that's one of the reasons that we pipelined our regulation crowdfunding offering. So it is important to not think about this white paper that we're creating today for potential investors, because realistically, nobody will have the opportunity to invest more than likely in REtoken, the token that we're creating, until we do our regulation crowdfunding offering. So, and that may be an opportunity to do a second version of this or other white papers as we move towards our regulation crowdfunding offering, which we are going to roadmap for Q3.
So even with that being stated, to determine if I want to spend my time and effort, and I believe this project is fruitful and one that will result in meeting set goals, as much of that information as possible is still important as someone who's like, oh, I want to help build this item. These are just my thoughts going out there. I'm checking out the YouTube channel as well. Miss Teresa Kennedy is chiming in with a lot of good thoughts. Just a note there that I think we should start to include some of what she's saying here in this conversation, because I think it's good stuff as well. Yeah, that's just my thought.
Yeah, so on this whole thing, I think that if we do mission, vision, values, basic execution, or execution step 1, that is probably great for what we're doing. And a lot of the stuff we have written either in versions of it, or we got so much content for the American Made Solar Prize and different stuff that we've done. I think a lot of this stuff we have versions of already. That's just where I would start things: mission, vision, values, and then basic execution.
It seems redundant, though, to put that in our white paper, because that's stuff that we've already spoken about in our Genesis proposal, and then we also have in our operating agreement. So also putting that in our white paper seems unnecessarily redundant.
Well, the thing that I'm thinking about is if you want to put it in a thing that's a 2-page document, or real estate professionals saying, we're trying to solve affordable housing, we're trying to create residual income, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, and a lot of the stuff is going to be redundant because it's about the audience. I mean, when we're talking to the government about solar, it's different than when we're talking about real estate about.
I get that, but we also need to keep in mind that we're not going to be creating a PDF here either. We already made the decision that we're going to be embedding this natively on our Gitbook. So, and looking at the Gitbook right now, we've got over here mission, founding principles, and again, it seems kind of redundant to have that in and again, this white paper here, we can create it in whatever manner. I really like, because I think that this Gitbook experience is a very clean and digestible manner. So the opportunity to take what we've seen, like with crypto white papers, because this isn't like a legacy crypto white paper, and this is actually something that I advocate to a lot of crypto projects too, because regulation crowdfunding, instead of like going through the tokenomics and then always being wondered if you're going to be like, hey, is this a security? Like at the end of the day, again, my understanding from all the conversations that I've been in, if you create a token and then you set up the liquidity for that token, you're creating a security. And this is one of the things that I'm hoping to kind of lead the way from a crypto project standpoint, and kind of do something different than a lot of crypto projects haven't. And I think that that's a unique opportunity that we have here, so that we can create these through real estate tokenization, opportunities that allow everyone to truly participate in those opportunities, where we're creating security tokens that, you know, if their grandma loses their crypto wallet, that those security tokens can be recreated. That's what true security tokens provide, where it's not like, hey, if I lose my keys, is it gone?
Crypto so easy your grandma can do it. Can that be one of our taglines?
Yeah, no, I mean, like the easier that we can do to, like, a statistic that I heard, and I didn't see any data to back it up, but I would absolutely believe that it's a real one, is that currently only 8% people globally are real estate investors. So the opportunity to create where there's more people that are benefiting from real estate and the tokenization of real estate is what REtoken is about.
Also, I no longer have edit access to the Google Doc. So if someone could grant that, that'd be great. Thank you.
I wanted to kind of go back to what Poopster said. I would be careful about what we're calling specifically a white paper, because it sounds like what we're trying to do is what Teresa said. This sounds like a light paper. And when I'm thinking of a white paper, I'm thinking of like a very technical overview, really super low level down in the details view of how everything works. It sounds like some of these topics are like.
Yeah, the other thing is in securities is this thing is not meant to be any kind of a prospectus, because we're not doing investments. So a lot of the level of detail is, I think part of it is we don't need that much money. So if we're not casting a vision for this stuff, you know, we don't need that much detail in it because of the audience and because they're not going to read it anyway.
Well, I think that as a DAO, you know, with transparency being such a core concept of our existence, I think it would be a good idea to have a document that details how all of the granular stuff works. Also,
I think we should be careful about saying folks aren't going to read it. I know personally, every crypto that I've purchased, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, I've read the white paper end to end. So there are folks out there who will read the white paper and they'll take that into consideration.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. I guess my background is I used to raise private equity, so I was raising 100 to 200 million at a time, and we had to disclose every single thing that could possibly go wrong. Like if an asteroid hit our project, like if that was a risk. I mean, everything that could potentially happen. So those documents were like 100 to 200 pages. And they were readable. And I mean, if you had the time to plow through it, you could. I just want to make sure that for this initial document, one, we're dealing with people. And my guess is that in the real estate industry, people that have flipped hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate, you say, hey, what do you know about crypto? They're like, I've heard of Bitcoin. I don't know anything about it. I mean, that's much more the level, I think, the people that we're going to be dealing with. So I want to make sure that we focus on the problems that we're solving and not getting into the governance tokens too much that it's people. One of the reasons why I asked people if they knew what BIDL meant was because up until a couple months ago, I didn't know what it meant. Somebody said it and I think I Googled it, or somebody had to explain it to me. And I think crypto uses so much language that people that aren't in it don't know what it means, that they just start reading it and then they just give up. So I just want to make this thing really clean and easy to read and not use too much jargon that people are going to get thrown off by, so they can see the problem I'm trying to solve.
And I think that it's can't be overstated enough that the primary target audience of this initial white paper, I believe, can and should be existing real estate professionals or people that maybe currently have never bought or maybe don't even have a crypto wallet. That's who the biggest growth opportunity that we have to grow out this community. And like one of the things that we're going to be talking about and potentially even having a working group here as early as tomorrow or very early this next week is developing an ambassador program and positioning this white paper the BIDL residual income for everyone through real estate. And I'm starting to like the sound of that. I'm going to play around with that. But again, looking at this, because we're not creating the opportunity, or we're not, and we shouldn't structure this white paper to think about it as for potential investors, because that opportunity to invest in REtoken, we're not going to be creating until like almost a year from now. Quarter three is July to September 2022. So the opportunity to revisit and add some details in either a second version of this or another document, I think is very much there. So yeah, maybe a light paper makes more sense, and that's something that we can think on. And I think also it's easy to only look at this through the lens of crypto white papers. White papers, as far as a tool professionally, have been used long time before crypto was even or before the Bitcoin white paper even existed. So I think the opportunity to look at successful organizations, and that's one of the reasons that I brought up the examples with Plaid.com of, seeing what other successful traditional companies do from a white paper standpoint, and position that, because that's the target audience of who we need to be looking at, is existing professionals, where we can create a professional white paper to talk about the value proposition that what we're creating solves it in a manner that isn't being solved by other projects or other situations that exist, and be intentional about really nailing down the value proposition. And residual income, everybody's wallet is a huge pain point or a huge opportunity, because everybody, hitting those greed buttons that we all have, because we're all greedy people at the end of the day.
Kind of funny, the guy, when we bought this house in Chicago, it needed an unexpected and long and painful remodel. And our developer actually still texts me once in a while, and he called me 6 months ago, and he's like, "Hey, I just thought you guys were super interesting, and I want to be involved with what you're doing." This is a guy that was hanging our drywall in 2018. I mean, so people who don't understand what we're doing are still really interested in it. And one of the things that we can do to make it easier is to say, this is how you come along. So this is, the ambassador program will help. We're developing these designations to teach people this stuff. And so I'm hoping within 3 to 6 months, we can say, if you're already an expert, skip to step 12 and then start going. If you have no idea what any of this stuff is, start at step 1. We're going to kind of put training wheels in this thing and make it super easy and give you a chance to ask questions and feed you the information that you don't know, that you haven't figured out yet.
Just to kind of jump in here, I'm curious, like, this white paper, I guess you're saying it's like geared towards, it's going to be like geared towards investors. Is that kind of what I'm?
No, not geared towards investors, because nobody has any opportunity to acquire.
Okay, I'm sorry. So who exactly is our white paper geared toward? If you can,
it's toward real estate, people that are interested in real estate, whether that's realtors, real estate developers, flippers, people that own multiple houses for rental income, people that have various levels of interest or expertise in real estate in whatever level, that might or might not have any experience with crypto,
or people that are interested in becoming, there's a lot of people that are interested in becoming real estate investors, but because one of the questions that we're going to be intentional about asking Tyler and I through the REtoken, the Real Estate DAO podcast, is asking the question, how can you invest in real estate for as little as $100? Because I think if you ask 100 people in a room that today, I would be surprised if even one person could give you a solution that you could look at your phone and say, okay, I've got $100, I want to invest, and here's that situation. So that's the thing that we want to create through REtoken as well. So telling that story as far as whether it's people that'll be putting the deals together, like the real estate people, or the potential people that are thinking or currently investing in real estate. So those two types of buckets that are actively doing real estate deals, or people that are or interested in being real estate investors.
So it is geared towards real estate investors.
So differently though than when you're thinking of a crypto white paper, because most crypto white papers are gearing you to be excited about investing in a project, and they're talking about the tokenomics of that particular project with the end result of hopefully acquiring that token. So that's very different than us, because there's no opportunity to acquire our token that represents the community that we're building here. So from the tokenomics standpoint, like our tokenomics, if we even include a tokenomics section within this white paper, would be very different than what a lot of crypto projects where it's got tokenomics and stuff like that.
Well, I would like, in fact, I would challenge you on that, because, like, for example, at Harvest Finance, we're like, a project that doesn't really, like, we didn't go out and write a white paper, and we would definitely be like one of those projects, like you said, that would write more of a light paper. And like, we like, for instance, we're completely community run as well. Like, we didn't have a token sale. We didn't have the token was only available via farming, and that's the way that, like, 90% of these projects that are launching nowadays. So white papers have actually changed quite a bit. I'm sure you know this, but like from 2017 era, when they had pre-sales and whatnot, everybody shifted to a new token distribution model. So like, most of the white papers that are being written for projects today aren't like selling their tokens per se, as much as they're just describing, I think, the problem they see and how they're solving it. And like I said, that's more kind of geared towards a light paper than, I guess you would say, a white paper. But yeah, you're right. Like, in the world of crypto, there isn't a whole lot of need for white papers much anymore. And to be honest, I can't remember the last time I read one. But once again, this is coming from like somebody in the world of crypto. And DeFi, it's just changing so fast that, like, it's really kind of being phased out, in my opinion.
Well, one of the things that I have read a lot of white papers. It's been really interesting reading a white paper and then being involved in a DAO, listening to conference calls and listening to them executing, and realizing that the execution is really poor, and their snapshot proposals don't have any relationship to what they've articulated that their project's going to be about. So one of the things that I'm excited about articulating is that I feel like our community is pretty consistent in what we write down, what ends up in our snapshot, what's on our conference calls. It's all the same thing. Sometimes it expands, but it's not materially different. So that's one of the things that I just want to focus on, is just making sure that we're building a community that, or we're not just putting out a vision and we're going to go execute something totally different, which I think is what's been happening in a lot of the other ones I've been involved with.
Yeah, so I'm just, like I said, a lot of this is like new to me, because I don't come from any world. And in fact, like, in kind of like, I've been thinking about what you were saying, Jason, like, that we want to gear this towards like the people that are interested in real estate. And, like, to be completely honest, that's like, for me, it's a very small priority, right? Like, it's not something that I think that, as most people know, kind of, the reason I got involved with the project was in helping launch the DAO itself, and kind of some of those metrics behind that. So I think that for the most part, like I feel like that's what my attention and whatnot's been geared towards of late, and just kind of trying to really just hang in there and learn whatever I can from any of the other working calls we've had. Like for instance, with Token Town, it's been a cool learning experience for me, and like I'm excited to see what we can build there. But as far as like, and I know I kind of mentioned this the other day in the core team chat, but like as far as all the other DAOs and everything that's been being launched, it's been very difficult for me to keep up with, and I just don't have the bandwidth to do a lot of it. So I wanted to make it a point to be here today for the white paper, because I kind of feel like this is pretty important in deciding the direction, and also the fact that it's just another experience I can have with helping to kind of form this DAO and see how this goes. But aside from that,
if you can only, so I know you're pretty limited on bandwidth. If you can make whatever calls you can, so much of the stuff that we post in Discord is research and interesting things that we think a lot of. Hopefully, like, you're not getting notified on everything all the time. If you just look at the events and come to what you can, I mean, you're probably going to get 90% of it just off of that. I know it's a lot.
It is a lot, like all the channels, and it's very difficult for me to keep up with. So I mean, most of the time I just do what I can, and so once again, like I do want to participate as much as possible in the kind of the forming of our DAO and what our mission is and everything. So that's why I'm here to help out today. But I do, and once again, I don't want to like derail this conversation, but I do have a couple things that I need to touch on at some point, or I'd like to. Regarding kind of what we're doing with our treasury. I know that we said that we would like address this in the middle of October, and like it's already the middle of November, and we haven't even, I know we've had a lot going on, but it just seems like you said earlier, Yonks, I think on some of this stuff, the can just gets kicked down the road and kind of pushed aside for the next thing that comes up or whatever it is that, there's just a lot going on. And I feel like, I don't know. I almost feel like my attention can be better directed by just sitting down and like starting to write some proposals and trying to just do everything I can, helping from like the more technical and treasury management side of this, and focus on that for now.
Yeah, and love your insight too, as far as, and I think that is good consideration too, as far as like with Harvest Finance, and I would agree too on that. Probably the need for a lot of tokenomics or a deep, and BitDAO is a good example. BitDAO is a newer DAO to the space. They're well endowed from a bankroll from Bybit, and they don't have a super dense white paper, and it looks like that they only have a light paper here. So it might make more sense for us to, again, talk about just doing a light paper. So, and I would encourage everybody to, and this is something that we can take offline between now and our next working group. And I don't know if we want to spend some time, like right now, we've got a little over 20 minutes left. I don't know if we want to go ahead and make a decision as far as when that we will host the second working group, but I think that we've got a lot of considerations for what we want this to look like. And the biggest one too is, again, we're not creating a document that's going to exist in a PDF. So the opportunity of, leveraging the beautiful front end user experience that Gitbook provides to make a very readable white paper or light paper may provide value. Because I think the biggest opportunity, while we're looking to grow and reach critical mass for real estate tokenization, is to attract the real estate professionals and make it easy for them to get excited about the residual income opportunity that we can create. And then as we're getting the specifics architected for what those smart contracts will look like on the specifics, the opportunity to create equitable, affordable housing. So that being said, when do we want to host our next second working group? Is my mic working?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay.
I'm impartial. Go ahead.
Yeah, can I address my comment to Boopster? If you need to set up a working group to do the governance, or if it's something that you can do by yourself, I don't know what it entails, just let us know. We'll be more than willing to participate so it can get done. I know
Thank you,
that's
Amy. No,
important to you. I don't know what it entails. Just let us know what we can do for you, okay?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm putting together a group actually to discuss it with the developers from UMA. So just so I can get the information straight and get the numbers straight, and then I'll have something that I can present to everybody in the DAO at REtoken. So yeah, I'll straighten out all the numbers and bring a good proposal that's clear and concise that everybody can understand.
And that is
Thank
a
you.
great opportunity. Sunday, we already agreed on our core team planning call on Sunday, which is at 3 Eastern time. We're going to focus that to be on treasury management, and our treasury got much more endowed with the ENS airdrop, which if you're on YouTube or Facebook, you can go look at our channel there. We're on our community call here on Wednesday. We collected the ENS airdrop, which added a substantial amount from what it was our treasury just prior to collecting that ENS airdrop.
And just to kind of like throw this out there, so I think that the value of that, Jason, is somewhere above the value of 10,000. It's above $10,000, I believe. But what I was going to say was this might be a cool opportunity for us to kind of utilize some of the tools that UMA's built. And like we could actually make it so if we wanted to, we could kind of borrow some stable coins against that ENS drop that we got. And then we could put that capital to work for us. So yeah, I think there's plenty of opportunities to grow our treasury and at the same time, like put some cool tools to work for our treasury as well that kind of automates a lot of the stuff that we're going to be needing to do in the future.
So if it's not on your calendar, everybody, it's super exciting because I'm looking forward to learning from Poopster as far as how to get better yield. He is a master at yield farming with the crypto. So 3 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, we'll be live streaming it as we normally do our weekly core team planning call. But as far as getting our next, we've got little over 15 minutes left for this. I would really feel good, and I would like to kick off before we have this next working group for white paper. I would like to have our initial working group for the ambassadors, because I think that would be a great lens, because really I'm expecting and hoping that a large portion of this audience through this white paper may be interested in becoming REtoken ambassadors to grow the overall base that we have, but most importantly, be brand ambassadors for REtoken, the real estate DAO. So as far as the next working group, if we look at doing an ambassadors working group on either Sunday or Monday, I'm thinking Tuesday would be pretty good. And then we've got the week after that, holidays. So want to minimize meeting times on Thanksgiving holiday week for people. But I'm thinking Tuesday is at the top of my list for our second working group. What is everybody's thoughts on Tuesday?
Most evenings are fine with me.
So like 7 Eastern time, is that normally a good time for everybody? Want to be cognizant of other people with time, but 7 seems to normally be a pretty good time for scheduling these 2-hour working groups.
Yeah, 7 is good.
That's 7 Eastern, right? So it's 6 o'clock my time.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to know.
So let's plan that Tuesday, and I'll see what the date is. Let me do that real quick. I think that's the 16th. 7 p.m. East, 16th of November, and I'll get that all scheduled. As far as the POAP distribution for today's working group, is that something that's going to get dropped via the POAP bot, or are you doing that manually? And I guess Dax is the one that can chime in on the POAP bot.
Yeah. As soon as the call is done and over, then I will get with the Amy, and then we'll send it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Add to
I
that,
already
guys.
created the POAP, so I'll communicate with Dax on that one.
And
Awesome.
thank
Thank
you
you, Amy.
again, Amy and Dax for getting the bot set up, and Amy for helping to facilitate some of the POAPs here this week. Love the POAPs. So thank you for doing that, both of you.
Yeah, I'd like to add, guys, please, do not, accept DMs from this server, from our REtoken server. Otherwise, you won't be able to, the bot won't be able to, drop a link to you or DM you. So please, open it up, make sure, it's coming through. Yep.
Just wanted to echo that and say thank you to everybody. Like, y'all have been awesome, and it's really cool to see everybody participating and like learning new things and doing different things. And I'm always learning from all these calls and these different groups we have. So it's grateful for everybody here.
And want to again recognize Teresa for participating in the live stream here today, and did send an email offline for that, and looking forward to seeing how that we can resolve that conflict so that we can get you participating in our future events here at REtoken. So thank you for participating today, Teresa. Your input is always welcomed and appreciated. And feel free to, I love that we started with the blank slate here on this. This is a very important topic. I think that we all acknowledge that, because most people associate a well-written white paper to the overall success or failure of crypto projects. And I think that that's one of the things that we definitely fall squarely under as far as a crypto project. But what we're doing here is also very different, especially our execution and stance that we're taking from a securities and securities regulations standpoint. So did share a substantial amount of information. If you haven't looked at it yet, it's under the Tokenomics. I pinged everybody that's on the white paper Discord role on that. So feel free to take a look at that. We also have the white paper thread that's set up here. So let's continue to have some conversation, and feel free to The biggest next action that I've got on this is getting everybody added to Getbook as far as contributing here to that. Besides that, and getting our next one scheduled, was there any other next actions that we had identified? Or need to identify?
No, I'm sorry.
I just gonna toss out there. So we briefly discussed liquidity, not that it's directly relevant to this discussion, but Geyser is in the United States. They're an LLC. It's actually under a parent company or whatever. And the devs are doxed and everything. So, and they have liquidity in their token. So it might be worth reaching out to them and just seeing what implications they've had with that. And I can ping them if that's something we want to do, or unless it's too soon and we don't even want to think about that yet. That's also
I
fine.
guess I'm not understanding the context, Blurs.
Let me jump in here. That's a great idea. That's an absolutely amazing idea that I've never really considered, Blurs. So check it out. Yonks, this is a project that I've been a part of since it launched. Actually, I helped them launch. And it's a smaller project. It's called Geyser. You can go to Geyser, GYSR.io. And what it is effectively, just in like one sentence, is it's a project, a platform that allows anybody to create a yield farm. So what that looks like is you deposit token X, which would be whatever token you want. And then from that, it streams token B, which would be, like in our case, REtoken, right? So kind of, I think that, just to give an example of how we might use it. Say we take our founding member, whatever it is, NFTs, and then you can stake those tokens in the Geyser itself, and from that you'll earn REtoken. And what we effectively kind of like, some of the things we could use it for would be like, I think any of our events, we could have like trigger any KPIs. This is, I'm probably Blurs, am I making sense here? Can you maybe explain this a little better than?
No, I think you pretty well covered. That wasn't the direction I was going, but I didn't think of actually using Geyser. I was just talking about reaching out to the devs and just seeing how they handle any implications of an LLC having liquidity in a token. But yeah, we can definitely look at that.
And they can also help with that as well. Like, I think so once again, Yonks, like I said, this is a project that I just kind of forgot about, that I still help. I met them in New York. Really sharp guys. In fact, Vitalik crashed on Alex's couch while he was ICOing Ethereum back in whatever it was, 2015. So they were both Thiel members, Vitalik and Alex Corin, who's one of the core developers of Geyser. Anyway, that's just neither here nor there. But if you have a minute, if any of y'all have a minute, who are interested in like what we're doing, with our token distribution, I would highly recommend, and I'll share that link right here in the chat for everybody to kind of go look at, or I'll share it in the Discord. Sorry.
And the thoughts on the liquidity is that, so these conversations regarding any tokens that we're going to be creating are also going to be involved with our broker dealer and likely potentially the registered transfer agent, the ATS, after the alternative trading system. But those are two of the three securities regulations that I spoke about here in this pinned conversation. There's the broker dealer and the registered transfer agent, and those parties will likely be ones to that will be involved in any, whether it's liquidity for REtoken or liquidity for any of the tokens that are created for the tokenized real estate deals that we're a part of. So, and I don't know how that fits. So it's I would say probably pretty early as far as the liquidity conversations, because we haven't had substantial enough conversations with the broker dealer or any registered transfer agents as far as what that looks like. Because going through the process with registered SEC FINRA solutions partners so that we can have our security tokens or digital assets that will stand the test of time, where we don't have to be concerned about the SEC chasing us down for issuing unregistered securities. Because I also believe that the digital assets and security tokens are what's going to take the crypto market cap from barely over 3 trillion, where it's at, quickly over 10 trillion, with the proliferation, and primarily the proliferation of real estate security tokens. So we've got to go back, and I don't know if anybody had any other next actions, but let me make sure that we captured all of those. So I've got adding the contributors to REtoken Gitbook, and then scheduling the white paper working group number 2 for Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll get that on the calendar so that everybody. And this is a quick plug. We do have in our events on Discord, in our pin channel, we have the REtoken Google Calendar. It's a very easy way. I've been enjoying having that in place, and I'll bring that open so that everybody can see it here too. It's a very easy way to see the events that are going on here within REtoken. So I'm actually just going to throw this on the calendar, but did we have any other next actions that we need to capture as a result of today's working group?
I'm just FYI, I'm not available normally midweek, as you normally know, but if it, as you work on the document during the week or whatever after the working session, I'll be glad to take a look at it and provide any input.
Awesome. And yeah, feel free, everybody, to continue contributing to our Google Docs that we created here, how to write a crypto white paper. We can work on making that clean and prettier throughout the process, but feel free to throw in your thoughts and just keep this, and I'll probably add some additional framework with getting for our next agenda and stuff like that. But I feel that this has been very productive here today. How does everybody else feel about today's working group?
I want to welcome back Teresa. Welcome back, if you can hear me. And then everyone, thank you for all the hard work that you all do. We really appreciate you. Everyone is important to us.
Absolutely. And thank you again, Amy, Crash, and Dax, who are nominated for Community Members of the Week. All of the contributions that you've done thus far to lay a solid foundation. Super excited for what we're creating here and the opportunity to continue to build a more equitable future for people in real estate, and increasing opportunities for everybody to invest in real estate opportunities through real estate tokenization.
Yeah, I think today's call cleared some things up for me. So thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. And looking forward, Poopster, to what you've got planned for us on the core team planning call. Again, that's the next event that we will be hosting, which will be Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So looking forward to, and this will just be a little bit of a teaser here real quick. I'll go ahead and open up our Gnosis safe real quick so that everybody can take a look. Like I said, we did participate or receive one of the biggest airdrops of 2021 was the ENS airdrop, which greatly increased the value of our treasury. But right now the REtoken treasury currently has over 20K valuation in it. So looking forward to seeing how that we can grow that. And then also just learn more from you, Poopster, as far as yield farming. I know that that's something that excited to hear about, and I will be a student on Sunday for you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend and see you guys tomorrow if anybody's coming.
If anybody has a sec, Yonks, are you leaving right now?
No, and if you want,
good?
I can go ahead and in the share in the
Sure.
live stream.
Sure.
Are we good on this one? Or let's just switch to Discord and if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. Blurs, if you got a second, I'd love to talk to you as well.
Sure, it's martini time, but yeah, I can definitely.
Well, that's perfect then. You'll
well, and let's give 5 minutes and we'll hop in the core voice channel there. And
Okay.
we'll go ahead and end the live stream here today. The working group number 2, 7 o'clock Eastern time. I already put it on the REtoken DAO calendar, 7 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday, November 16th. And we will carry these conversations. And I would encourage everybody to circle back and just kind of like frame what we put in the conversation, maybe light paper, maybe white paper, and what we want that to look like, with the intent of utilizing or the end product being something there on our Gitbook at docs.retoken.info. Love how that's coming along, and looking forward to making that a solid resource for people to learn about everything that we're doing here at REtoken, the real estate DAO. And we'll see you all in the back channel here in 5 minutes for anybody that wants to hear what Poopster's got going on. I'm looking forward to having that conversation. I'm going to martini you with a beer 30 there, Blur's Day, and that's where I'm headed right now. And I will see you all in 5 offline or online backstage, whatever. I'm in this live stream now.